At my wedding, the MC passionately called out, "Now, please, the bride and groom, greet the guests." I was holding David Brown's hand, ready to accept the blessings, but he let go of me, pulled my bridesmaid and best friend, Lily Taylor, into his arms. "Honey, let's toast everyone together." The entire room fell silent. I watched their intertwined hands and the unmistakable bulge on Lily's belly, and I laughed. I turned around, my gaze landing precisely on an inconspicuous corner below the stage. A man sat there, radiating a cold aura that set him apart from the surroundings. He was David's boss, James Johnson. I lifted my wedding dress and walked step by step toward him, then knelt on one knee. "James, they don't want to get married. So let's do it. Do you dare?" The crowd erupted in uproar. All the cameras and gazes instantly shifted from that cheating couple to James and me. David's face turned from smug to purple with rage. He rushed over, trying to grab me. "Emily Williams, you're crazy. Stop embarrassing yourself here." I ignored him, staring unblinkingly at James. This man was the true top elite in the social scene, worth billions, holding life and death power over countless businesses. David wasn't even fit to tie his shoes. I'd seen him a few times at David's company annual parties, always seated at the head table, commanding authority without a word, making people afraid to approach. Now, his deep eyes rested on me, not with surprise but with scrutiny. After a long moment, his thin lips parted, and he uttered just one word: "Yes." With that, he stood up, took off his finely tailored suit jacket, and draped it over my shoulders, chilled from wearing only a strapless wedding dress. His jacket carried a faint scent of cedar, enveloping me entirely. An unprecedented sense of security instantly overwhelmed me. He took my hand and, without a glance at David, led me toward the exit. James, you can't do this." David panicked completely, trying to block us. James' 2 bodyguards instantly stood before him like mountains. "David." James finally paused, looked back at him with eyes like he was seeing a dead man. "You don't need to come to work tomorrow, Anne." He paused, his gaze sweeping over Lily, pale and trembling beside David. "Congratulations on picking up someone else's trash." Without another word, he led me out of that nauseating wedding venue. Behind us were the reporters' frantic camera flashes and the deafening buzz of the guests. My parents were furious, nearly fainting, pointing at my retreating figure and shouting, "Emily, you ungrateful daughter, get back here." David's mother even threw herself on the floor, wailing, "No justice. We Browns married such a disgraceful woman. She hooked up with some man before even walking down the aisle." I tuned it all out. Only when I got into James' black Rolls-Royce Phantom did I finally relax. The car's interior was spacious, with the heater blasting warm air. As I watched the hotel recede rapidly through the window, it felt like a bizarre dream. "Do you have your household register?" James' cool voice sounded beside me. I paused, instinctively nodding. "Yes. For convenience with formalities. My ID and household register were always in my handbag." "Good," he said flatly. "To the civil registry office." The driver acknowledged, and the car turned smoothly around. Only then did it hit me his wasn't a dream. I really had run off with my fiancé's boss at my own wedding. And now, we were going to get married. I turned to look at the man beside me. His profile was perfect, with a high nose bridge. His expression focused as he scrolled through a tablet, seemingly handling work matters. It was as if the man had publicly stolen someone else's bride, wasn't him? "James," I began uncertainly. Why did you agree?" He didn't look up. "Didn't you ask me if I dared?" There's nothing in this life I'm afraid to do." He finally looked up at me, a hint of amusement in his eyes. "Besides, I happen to need a wife." I understood. This was a transaction. He needed a wife to handle certain matters. and I needed the sharpest knife to plunge into David Brown and Lily Taylor. James Johnson was that knife. Fine. I nodded. I have only one condition. Speak. I want David Brown and Lily Taylor disgraced and stripped of everything. My voice was icy, laced with deep-seated hatred. They had destroyed my wedding, shattered all my faith in love and friendship. So I would destroy their lives. James curved his lips slightly, a flicker of approval in his eyes. Agreed. The staff at the marriage registration office gaped at our outfits, one in a wedding dress, the other in a custom-tailored suit. Anyone might have thought we'd dashed straight from a ceremony. And truthfully, we had photos, signatures, stamps. In barely 10 minutes, 2 red marriage certificates were handed to us. I stared at the picture of James and me, still feeling it was unreal. He expressionless, me forcing a smile, nothing like a loving couple. Exiting the office, James' phone rang. He answered it, his tone returning to its usual coolness. Speak. Whatever the other end said made him frown. Got it. I'll head back now. After hanging up, he told me, there's an emergency at the company. I'll take you home first. Home where? I asked. He gave an address for the city's most exclusive neighborhood, Cloud Peak Manor. I stayed silent. The car drove straight to Villa 1 at Cloud Peak Manor. The entry security used facial recognition, and James input my details. This is your home now, he said, handing me a black card. No PIN. Spend freely. I didn't take it. Mr. Johnson, this is just a marriage of convenience. I can't accept your money. He looked at me, his gaze meaningful. Call me James. Take it, he insisted, shoving the card into my hand. Mrs. Johnson using her husband's card is only natural. His fingertip brushed my palm. A scorching touch. My heart skipped, and I jerked my hand back. I'll go to the office now and be back tonight. Without another word, he turned and got into the car. I stood there, watching the Rolls-Royce vanish from sight, the cold black card still clutched in my hand. Only then did it truly sink in. I was Marietto, my ex-fiance's boss, a man I barely knew, standing at the pinnacle of society. I took a deep breath and pushed open the heavy villa door. Inside, it was beyond imagination. A massive crystal chandelier, a spiral staircase, a wall of floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking a manicured garden and a blue pool. A middle-aged man in a butler's uniform approached, bowing respectfully. Good day, ma'am. I'm Wang, the butler here. Hello, Butler Wang, I replied, feeling awkward. The master has instructed that your room is the master suite on the 2nd floor. Shall I show you up? No need. I'll manage on my own. I held up the hem of my wedding dress and stumbled awkwardly to the 2nd floor. The master bedroom was as spacious as a suite. In the walk-in closet, the latest women's fashion for the season was already hanging, and the vanity was covered in a full set of top-tier skincare and makeup. Everything was in my size. It seemed James Johnson had prepared everything in advance. That wife he happened to need he mentioned might not have been a spur-of-the-moment thing. My phone was ringing non-stop calls from my parents, David Brown, and various relatives and friends. I didn't answer any. I just silenced it. After a shower, I changed into the silk pajamas from the closet and threw myself onto the soft, oversized bed, exhausted from the day's chaos. I was mentally and physically drained, but I couldn't sleep. My mind kept replaying the revolting expressions of David and Lily Taylor at the wedding. I grabbed my phone and opened my chat history with Lily. Just yesterday, she'd hugged me and said, "Emily, you'll be the most beautiful bride tomorrow. You have to be happy." I'd been deeply touched then, but now it felt utterly ironic. I opened social media, and the wedding scandal was already trending. Hashtags like groom kisses bridesmaid at wedding, bride marries groom's boss on the spot, and billionaire CEO James Johnson marries suddenly were blowing up one after another. The comments were all over the place. Most people slammed David and Lily as cheating scum, while a few criticized me, calling me fickle and shameless for chasing money at all costs. I let out a cold laugh. Unfazed. Just then, an unknown number texted me. Emily Williams. This is Lily Taylor. Don't get smug, you think marrying James means you've won. You're just a pawn he's using to piss me off. David loves me. And it's always been me. She followed up with a photo. It showed her and David in an intimate pose, set against what was meant to be our new home. In it, Lily wore my wedding dress, beaming with joy, while David held her, his eyes full of adoration. That image stabbed into my heart like a knife. I clenched my phone so hard my nails nearly drew blood. Lily. David. Just you wait. The game has only begun. I didn't sleep a wink all night. The next morning, I trudged downstairs with dark circles under my eyes. The dining table was set with a lavish breakfast. James sat at the head, dressed in a crisp suit, reading the newspaper. Morning light poured through the floor-to-ceiling windows, bathing him in a golden halo that softened his intimidating aura. Awake, he glanced up. Come eat. I sat across from him, appetite gone. Didn't sleep well? He asked. Because of them. I stayed silent, which was answer enough. He set down the paper and handed me a tablet. Take a look at this, might lift your spirits. I took it, confused. On the screen were the latest financial news headlines. Brown family stock price plummets. Billions evaporate overnight. Brown family's young heir David Brown exposed for chaotic private life, threatening the group's reputation. Rumors that Johnson family, Brown family's largest partner, intends to withdraw investment. The Brown family refers to David Brown's company, though it can't compare to James Johnson's Johnson family. In the city it still holds considerable prestige. David had always been his father's pride, the designated successor. Now, with this scandal breaking out, the stock price crashing, and partners pulling out, it was undoubtedly a catastrophe for the Brown family. Did you do this? I looked up at him. I just did what I had to, he said flatly, as if discussing a trivial matter. My company doesn't tolerate people with poor character. My partners must also have a clean background. Though he didn't say it outright, I knew it was all because of me. He was standing up for me. A warm feeling surged from the depths of my heart. Thank you, I said sincerely. Between husband and wife, there's no need for thanks, he replied, taking a sip of his coffee. This is just the appetizer. As I watched him, it suddenly struck me that marrying him might be the best decision I've ever made in my life. After breakfast, he was heading to work. What are your plans today? He asked me. I want to go back home, I said, after yesterday's chaos. My parents must be furious. I needed to go explain everything to them. I'll come with you, he offered. No, it's fine. I shook my head. This is my family matter. I can handle it myself. He looked at me for a few seconds but didn't insist. All right. Call me if anything happens. Okay. After James left, I changed clothes, asked the butler Wang to prepare the car, and returned to the home I grew up in. As soon as I entered, a teacup came flying toward me. I was prepared and dodged sideways. The cup shattered to pieces at my feet. You dare show your face here? My father pointed at me, trembling with rage. You've shamed the entire Williams family. My mother sat on the sofa, weeping uncontrollably. What sin have I committed to raise such a shameless daughter? Running off with another man at your wedding, where do you think that leaves our dignity? In the living room, David and his parents were also seated. David's mother rushed at me as soon as she saw me, trying to slap me. You little witch. You've ruined our Brown family. Give me back my son's future. I grabbed her wrist firmly, staring at her coldly. What future for your son? The future of being fired by the Johnson family, or the future of causing the Brown family's stock to crash? I shoved her hand away with such force that she stumbled backward a few steps. You, she stammered, pointing at me. Too angry to speak. Emily, David shouted, eyes red, looking utterly heartbroken. I never thought you'd be this kind of person. For money, you'd go this far. I was so wrong about you. You were wrong about me. I laughed. David, search your conscience. Who was really wrong about whom? I was with you for 5 years. How did I ever wrong you? I cooked and cleaned for you, managed your social connections, gave up my own career to support you as the woman behind the scenes. But what about you? How did you treat me? You slept with my best friend in our own marital home and got her pregnant. At the wedding, you humiliated me in front of everyone. Now you have the nerve to question me. My voice grew louder, filled with pent-up bitterness and fury. David was left speechless, his face turning pale then flushed. That was only because you pushed me to it. He roared in frustration. You were always so controlling. You had to manage everything. With you, I had no freedom at all. Is that so? I sneered. Seems like you had plenty of freedom with Lily Taylor. You. Enough. My father bellowed. Emily, stop talking. No matter what. Running off with another man was your fault. You go break it off with James Johnson right now. Then apologize to David. Well, find a way to compensate the Brown family. I couldn't believe my ears. At this point, my father is still forcing me to reconcile with David Brown. Dad, do you realize what you're saying? I looked at him, my eyes full of disappointment. David had an affair first. He's the one who wronged me. So what? My mother shrieked. Men, they all make mistakes sometimes. Lily Taylor's child can be raised by our Williams family. As long as you remain the Brown family's daughter-in-law, everything can be worked out. What's this about you getting involved with James Johnson now? Our Williams family can't afford the shame. My heart turned completely cold. In their eyes, my grievances and my dignity were nothing compared to so-called family honor. They could even tolerate a mistress and an illegitimate child, as long as I maintained the alliance with the Brown family. Because the Brown family's company and my father's company have many business dealings. If the two families fall out, my father's company would suffer significant losses. So, they'd rather sacrifice me. Impossible. I said word by word. David and I are over. I'm James Johnson's legal wife now. You. My father raised his hand, furious, wanting to hit me. I didn't dodge. The slap never landed. Because a cold, powerful voice came from the doorway. Who dares lay a finger on her? I turned and saw James standing at the entrance. He was followed by several bodyguards, his presence so commanding that the entire living room seemed to drop a few degrees in temperature. Everyone froze. David and his parents, seeing James, shrank back on the sofa like mice spotting a cat, too scared to even breathe. My parents were stunned. They hadn't expected James to come in person. James walked to my side, pulled me behind him protectively, and looked at my father with icy eyes. You dare touch what's mine? My father was intimidated by his aura and stammered. Mr. Johnson, this is our family matter. From the moment she married me, her affairs became my affairs, James said, his voice quiet but firm. If needed, my Johnson family can take over all the business between the Williams family and the Brown family. But I have one condition. He paused, his gaze sweeping over everyone present. From now on, if anyone dares to cause my wife the slightest bit of distress, don't blame me for being ruthless. With that, he took my hand and turned to leave. At the door, as if remembering something, he turned back to David. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, I just bought the venue for yesterday's wedding. Along with that hotel, I'll have my lawyer discuss the $2 million wedding expenses you and Lily owe. Interest will be charged at the highest rate. David's face instantly drained of color. Back at Cloud Peak Villa, I was still dazed. James' earlier demeanor was too overwhelming. He was like a god descending from the heavens, rescuing me from the mire. Thank you for earlier, I said, lowering my head. I told you, between husband and wife. There's no need for thanks, he replied, pouring me a glass of warm water. Scared, I shook my head. No, just a bit surprised. I hadn't expected him to come, let alone go to such lengths for me. They won't bother you anymore, he said. I looked at him, my emotions a tangled mess. We were only in a marriage of convenience, each getting what we needed. But what had done for me far exceeded the terms of our agreement. Why? I couldn't help asking. Why are you so good to me? He looked at me, his dark eyes unfathomable. Maybe because I like meddling in other people's business, he joked. Rare for him. Of course. I didn't believe it. Someone like him wouldn't do anything without purpose. He had a reason for treating me well. I just didn't know it yet. However, regardless of his intentions, at least in this moment, I was grateful to him. That night, I slept deeply. It was the most peaceful sleep I'd had in days. No nightmares, no sudden awakenings. The next day, I woke up to the aroma of food wafting through the air. I went downstairs and saw James Johnson in the kitchen. He wore a white shirt with the sleeves rolled up to his elbows, revealing a section of his firm forearm. He was frying eggs with skilled movements and an elegant posture, completely different from his decisive, ruthless demeanor in the business world. I stared, somewhat stunned. Awake, he turned to look at me, a faint smile playing on his lips. Come eat. I walked over and saw 2 sandwiches and 2 cups of hot milk set out on the dining table. Did you make this? I asked, surprised. Try it, he replied. I took a bite of the sandwich, and it actually tasted pretty good. You know how to cook. When you live alone long enough, you pick up a few things, he said casually. Suddenly, I felt a surge of curiosity about him. How many more sides of this man did I not know? After the meal, he headed off to the office again, alone at home. I felt a bit bored, so I decided to go out for a stroll. I hadn't used the black card James gave me yet. Today, I planned to treat myself. I applied a flawless makeup look, chose the most expensive dress from my wardrobe, drove the red Ferrari from the garage, and headed straight for the most upscale mall in the city, the International Finance Center. Back when I was with David Brown, I rarely came to places like this because he always said women should be frugal and homemakers, not too materialistic. Thinking back now, it was ridiculous. He used the money I saved to buy all sorts of designer bags and luxuries for Lily Taylor, while I hesitated over buying even an expensive lipstick. I walked into a high-end custom dress boutique. The salesperson's eyes lit up when she saw me, and she immediately greeted me warmly. Miss. Hello. What would you like to see today? Bring out all the new arrivals from this season for me to try on, I said, slapping the black card onto the table with full confidence. Seeing the black card, the salesperson's attitude became even more respectful. It was an unlimited black card, globally exclusive, something only the truly elite wealthy could possess. Soon, over a dozen beautiful dresses were hung before me. I tried them on one by one, when I stepped out wearing a strapless, midnight blue gown with a full-length skirt. My reflection in the mirror was so stunning it felt unfamiliar. The hem was studded with tiny diamonds that shimmered under the lights like a galaxy. Miss, you look absolutely breathtaking in this dress, the salesperson exclaimed sincerely. I'll take it, I said. Of course. Miss, this dress is our store's masterpiece, and the price is. No need to say it. Just run the card. As I prepared to pay, a sharp voice came from behind me. I want that dress. I turned around and saw the 2 people I least wanted to encounter. David and Lily. Lily was holding David's arm, her belly protruding, as she looked at me with a smug expression. She wore the latest Chanel dress and carried a Hermes Birkin bag. Apparently, even though David had been fired by the Johnson family, the Brown family's wealth was still intact, allowing her to live a life of luxury. Emily Williams. Long time no see, Lily Taylor said sarcastically. I didn't expect you to be so rich now, able to afford shopping in a place like this. I ignored her and told the salesperson, wrap it up. Wait a minute. Lily stopped me. Everything should follow first come, first served. Right. This dress. I saw it first. The salesperson looked at us awkwardly. Miss. It's true that this lady asked for it first. Lady. Lily laughed as if she'd heard the biggest joke. What kind of lady is she? A woman abandoned at her own wedding. And she dares to call herself a lady. Her words drew attention from people nearby. My face darkened. Lily. Watch your mouth. What? Hit a nerve. Did I? Lily smiled even more smugly. Emily. I suggest you be sensible and hand over the dress to me. Otherwise, I can't guarantee tomorrow's headlines won't be about you being a homewrecker, stealing something someone else wanted. She thought I was still the pushover she could manipulate. Unfortunately, she was wrong. I looked at her and suddenly smiled. You want this dress? Of course. All right. I walked up to her, picked up a glass of water the salesperson had just poured, and slowly poured it over her head from above. Ah! Lily screamed. Instantly drenched. Her expensive Chanel dress clung to her body, soaked and disheveled. Emily, you're crazy. David Brown reacted and rushed over to push me. I stepped back, dodging him. The crazy ones are you. I looked at them coldly. Lily, I'm telling you. Even if I throw this dress away or burn it today, I won't give it to you. Anne. I turned to David. Control your woman. If she dares to provoke me again, next time what I pour on her won't be water, but acid. The onlookers were stunned. No one expected me, who seemed quiet and gentle, to do something so bold. You. Lily trembled with anger, pointing at me speechless. What about me? I took out my phone and dialed a number. Hello, James. My voice instantly turned soft and pitiful. I'm at the International Finance Center, being bullied. On the other end, James Johnson's voice was deep. Where? Don't move. I'll be right there. I hung up and leaned against the wall calmly, watching the two of them turn pale. Lily probably didn't expect me to call James directly. She paused, then sneered. Emily, what are you pretending for? Do you think James would come all the way here for a woman like you? Stop dreaming. To him, you're just a plaything. David chimed in. Exactly. Emily, stop deluding yourself. Who is James Johnson? How could he ever be interested in you? Come back with me now. Apologize to Lily. And well, let this go. I looked at them like they were fools. Even now, they still thought I couldn't survive without David. Fine. I crossed my arms, leaning against the wall. Then let's wait and see if James comes. The mall manager arrived after hearing the commotion, his head spinning at the chaotic scene, especially seeing Lily soaked and David furious. He hurried over with an apologetic smile. Young Master Brown. Miss Taylor. What's going on? Let's discuss this calmly. No need to get angry. David was somewhat of a celebrity in the city, so the manager naturally recognized him. Discuss nothing. David pointed at me and told the manager. This woman is causing trouble here. And she poured water all over Lily. Get her out immediately. The manager looked troubled. Young Master Brown. This. What? Not listening to me. David said impatiently. Believe me, I'll make sure you lose your job. The manager wiped sweat from his forehead and turned to me. Miss, perhaps you should leave first. Before I could speak, a cold voice came from the entrance. I'd like to see who dares to make her leave. Everyone turned to see James Johnson striding in, surrounded by bodyguards. He wore a black trench coat, radiating authority, and people automatically made way for him. The mall manager's legs went weak at the sight. Mr. Johnson, what brings you here? James was the largest shareholder of the International Finance Center, the boss of his boss. He never imagined this big shot would be disturbed here. James ignored him and walked straight to me. He took off his trench coat and draped it over me, pulling me into his embrace. "Who bullied you?" he asked softly. His voice tinged with a hint of imperceptible tenderness. I pointed my finger at Lily Taylor and David Brown. Them. James Johnson's gaze instantly turned cold. He looked at David as if he were an insignificant insect. "Didn't you understand what I said yesterday?" David turned pale, his legs trembling. "Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson. I didn't mean to. It was her. She started it. She started it." James sneered. "Even if she tore this place down, it's because I spoiled her. Who do you think you are to boss her around here?" He turned to the mall manager, his tone leaving no room for argument. "From today on, ban these two people from the Golden Center, along with all their relatives. If you ever let them set foot in here again, you're fired." "Yes. Yes. Mr. Johnson. I'll handle it right away." The manager nodded frantically. Lily was completely stunned. She never expected James to go this far for me. She shouted indignantly, "Mr. Johnson, you can't do this. You're being fooled by this woman. She's not a good person. She's just a gold digger." James didn't even bother to glance at her. He held me close and said, "Which dress in this store do you like?" I pointed to the starry dress I was wearing. "This one." "Okay," James told the salesperson. "Except for this one. Wrap up every piece of clothing in the store for my wife." The salesperson and the surrounding customers were shocked. Each item in this store was exorbitantly priced. Buying all the clothes, how much would that cost? "But Mr. Johnson." The salesperson hesitated. "Miss Lily here. What does she matter?" James interrupted. "Once my wife has her eyes on something, no one can take it away." With that, he pulled out his unlimited black card and tossed it on the counter. "Charge it." Throughout it all, he never looked back at David or Lily. That complete disregard was more humiliating than any insult. David's face turned a deep shade of purple. His proud family background and his little prestige in the city's wealthy social circle were utterly crushed by James. Lily was so jealous she was early driven mad. She had schemed to steal David from me, thinking she could rise from nothing to greatness. But she never imagined I'd marry James, who was 100, no, 1,000 times better than David. And James spoiled me rotten. The luxuries and vanity she craved, I could get with a snap of my fingers from James. Even things I couldn't care less about. This huge disparity pushed her to the edge of breaking down. "Emily Williams, you'll die a horrible death," she screamed hysterically at me. James frowned, and a bodyguard immediately stepped forward, covered her mouth, and dragged her out. David slunk away after her. The world was finally quiet. James took my hand and led me out of the store. Behind us, the staff were packing dozens of bags of clothes, following in a grand procession. "Satisfied?" he asked me. I nodded, feeling much better inside. "Thank you." "Forgotten again." He squeezed my hand. I smiled and didn't say anything more. Back home, the butler directed the servants to hang all those clothes in the walk-in closet. The already full walk-in closet was now stuffed to the brim. Looking at this room full of luxurious clothes, I suddenly felt it was unreal. Just a few days ago, I was an ordinary office worker earning a few $1,000s a month, squeezing onto the subway every day for work. Now, I lived in a mansion worth hundreds of millions and owned a walk-in closet filled with exorbitantly priced outfits. All of this felt like a dream made dazzlingly splendid because of a man named James Johnson. That evening, James did not come back for dinner. He texted me, saying he had a business dinner. I ate alone and sat in the living room watching TV. A talk show was on, featuring a famous relationship expert from the city. The host asked her, "What kind of marriage do you think lasts long?" The expert replied, "Love that is equally matched can go the distance. If there's too big a gap between two people, whether economically or emotionally, that relationship is hard to sustain." Watching the TV, my heart sank. James and I were two people with too big a gap. Between us lay an impassable chasm. Our marriage was a transaction from the start. How long could this transaction last? As I was lost in thought, my phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. I answered, and a gentle woman's voice came through. Hello. Is this Miss Emily Williams? Yes. Who is this? I'm James Johnson's mother. My heart skipped a beat. James' mother. What did she want with me? Was she going to hand me a check like in TV dramas and tell me to leave her son? Hello, Auntie, I said, trying to keep my voice calm. Emily, I heard James say you two are married. Her voice sounded very kind. We'd like to meet you. Do you have time tomorrow? Let's have a meal together. I hadn't expected to meet James' family so soon. And for his mother to call personally. I felt nervous. Auntie, isn't this too sudden? Not at all. Not at all. James' mother chuckled on the other end. You've already gotten your marriage license. As parents, we ought to meet our daughter-in-law. It's settled then. Tomorrow at noon. 12 o'clock. At the royal feast. I'll be waiting. With that, she hung up, holding my phone. I was dazed. The royal feast was the most exclusive private dining club in the city, with per-person costs in the 5 figures and open only to members. Clearly, the Johnson family was no ordinary wealthy clan. What should I do? James and I were only in a contract marriage. Did his family know about this? If they didn't, how should I face them? My mind was in turmoil, and I didn't sleep well all night. The next day, I deliberately picked out a demure-looking dress and applied light makeup. I didn't want to make a bad impression on the Johnson family, even though it was a contract marriage. Basic courtesy was still necessary. I arrived half an hour early at the royal feast. After giving James' mother's name, the waiter respectfully led me to a private room. Pushing open the door, I saw an elegant, dignified woman sitting inside drinking tea. She was impeccably maintained, looking no older than her 40s, with features somewhat resembling James. Surely, this was James' mother. Hello, Auntie. I walked in and greeted her respectfully. Mrs. Johnson's eyes lit up when she saw me. She put down her teacup, stood up, took my hand, and sized me up and down. Oh, you must be Emily. Right. You're so good-looking. She beamed from ear to ear. You're even prettier than in the pictures. Her enthusiasm took me by surprise. Auntie, you're overpraising me. Sit down. Sit down quickly. She pulled me to sit down. That boy, James, is really lucky to marry such a wonderful girl like you. I smiled shyly. By the way, she seemed to remember something. This is a gift for you from me. She picked up a velvet box from the side and handed it to me. I opened it and saw a jade bracelet of excellent quality inside. Judging from its transparent texture, it was obviously very valuable. Auntie, this is too precious. I can't accept it. I quickly declined. What's so precious about it? She put the bracelet on my wrist. You're a daughter-in-law of the Johnson family now, and this is what you deserve. In the future, everything of the Johnson family will be yours and James. Looking at the bracelet on my wrist, I felt even more uneasy. The nicer she was to me, the deeper my guilt became, because I had lied to her. Auntie, actually, I summoned up my courage and wanted to confess to her. Actually, what? Actually, James and I. Before I could finish my words, the door of the private room was pushed open. James walked in. Mom, why are you here? He seemed a bit surprised to see Mrs. Johnson. Why can't I come? Mrs. Johnson gave him a glare. If I hadn't come, were you planning to never bring your daughter-in-law home for us to meet? That's not what I meant. All right. All right. Sit down quickly. Mrs. Johnson motioned for him to sit down. I was just chatting with Emily. James sat down beside me and naturally took my hand. His palm was warm, giving me a little strength. What did Mom tell you? He asked me in a low voice. Nothing much. She just gave me a gift for our first meeting, I whispered. He glanced at the bracelet on my wrist and said nothing. Soon, all the dishes were served. The table was full of expensive dishes. During the meal, Mrs. Johnson kept picking dishes for me and asking me all kinds of questions. She asked very detailed questions, from my family background to my hobbies. I answered them one by one, trying my best to be well-behaved and generous. James, on the side, would occasionally help me out. The atmosphere during the meal was quite harmonious. After the meal, Mrs. Johnson said she had a card game to attend and left first. Before leaving, she held my hand and told me to come home often. In the private room, only James and I were left. Did you know she would come to see me? I asked him. Yes. He nodded. Then why didn't you tell me in advance? If I had told you, would you have come? He countered. I was at a loss for words. Indeed, if I had known in advance, I might have found an excuse to decline, because I wasn't ready to face his family yet. My mom likes you very much, he said. That's because she doesn't know that we got married under an agreement, I said irritably. James, is it really okay for us to lie to her like this? This isn't a lie. He looked at me seriously. We're legally married. The marriage certificate is real, but we have no feelings. Feelings can be cultivated slowly. His words made my heart flutter. Cultivate slowly. Can we really cultivate feelings between us? I didn't dare to think about it. After coming out of the Imperial kitchen, James Johnson said he wanted to take me somewhere. The car drove for a long time and arrived at a very remote cemetery. I was a bit puzzled. Why did he bring me here? He didn't explain. Just took my hand and walked to a tombstone. On the tombstone, there was a photo of a young girl. The girl smiled sweetly, her eyes curved, looking very sunny. The tombstone was engraved with her name, Sophia Miller. My heart skipped a beat. This name, I seemed to have heard it somewhere. Who is she? I asked. My ex-girlfriend. James' voice was a bit hoarse. I was stunned. I never knew that James had an ex-girlfriend. What happened to her? 3 years ago. She died in a car accident. His voice carried a hint of sadness I had never heard before. I looked at the girl's smiling face on the tombstone and suddenly understood something. I finally knew why James agreed to a contractual marriage with me. Because I look very similar to this girl named Sophia, especially in the eyes. So, I was just a substitute. A huge wave of disappointment and mockery instantly overwhelmed me. I had been touched by his kindness to me before, fantasizing about whether we could have a future. Now it seems it was all my wishful thinking. He was good to me not because I am Emily Williams, but because I look like Sophia. I was so ridiculous. I shook off his hand and took a step back. James, you're really something, I said, looking at him and laughing coldly. Finding a substitute to remember your first love. Do you think it's interesting? He looked at me, frowning deeply. Emily, it's not what you think. Then what is it? I pressed him. Dare you say that you married me not because I look like her? He was silent. His silence was the best answer. My heart sank bit by bit. I understand. I nodded, turned, and walked away. Where are you going? He grabbed me. To a place without you. I shook him off and ran out of the cemetery without looking back. I didn't want to see him anymore. Not even a glance. I walked aimlessly on the street. The sky gradually darkened, and the city lights came on. The city's prosperity was incompatible with me. I felt like a person abandoned by the whole world. First, I suffered the double betrayal of my fiancé and my best friend. Then I realized again that I was nothing but a substitute for another woman. My life was like a joke. My phone kept ringing in my bag. I didn't need to look to know it was James Johnson calling. I didn't want to answer. I just wanted to be alone and calm down. I walked into a bar and ordered the strongest drink. The spicy liquid slid down my throat, burning my stomach and numbing my nerves. I drank one glass after another until my consciousness began to blur. Just as I was about to order another, a hand pressed down on my glass. "Miss, drinking alone is dangerous," he said. I looked up and saw a handsome man smiling at me. His smile was warm, like sunshine. But right now, I hated sunshine the most. "Get lost," I said coldly. The man didn't get angry and sat down opposite me. "My name is Peter Davis. I'm a doctor." He introduced himself. "You look upset. I'd like to buy you a drink." "Okay," I said. "Get lost. Don't be so angry," he said with a grin. "Meeting is fate. How about we become friends?" I couldn't be bothered to deal with him. So I picked up my bag and tried to leave. But he grabbed my wrist. "Hey, don't go. I haven't had a drink with you yet." His grip was strong, and I couldn't break free. Just then, another, stronger hand grabbed his wrist. "Let her go." The cold voice made me sober up a bit. I turned and saw James standing behind me. His face was grim, his eyes icy. Peter saw him, paused for a moment, then let go of my hand. "James." He seemed to recognize James. James ignored him and pulled me up from the seat, wrapping his arm around me. "Come home with me." His voice carried a suppressed anger. I didn't want to go with him. "I'm not going back." I struggled. "Let me go. Emily Williams." He raised his voice. "Don't make me force you here." His threat instantly silenced me. I knew he meant what he said. He half dragged, half carried me out of the bar. Peter watched our retreating figures. His gaze complicated. Back in the car, James didn't say a word. Just drove extremely fast. The atmosphere in the car was so oppressive I could hardly breathe. Back at Cloudtop Villa, he threw me onto the sofa. "Emily, you've grown some guts. Learning to get drunk at bars." He looked down at me, his eyes cold. "What does it matter to you how I am?" I stared back at him defiantly. "Aren't you just treating me as a substitute? Why do you care who I drink with or who I go home with?" "Substitute." He sounded like he heard something ridiculous. "Who told you you're a substitute? Isn't it obvious?" I pointed at my face. "I look like her. Don't I?" "Yes. You do look like her," he admitted. "But so what?" "So what?" I laughed, tears streaming down. "James, do you think I'm a fool? Dare you say that everything you've done to me isn't you seeing another person through me?" He fell silent. Silence again. I was utterly hopeless. "Let's get divorced," I said. These 3 words, I said softly, but they exploded like a bomb in the empty living room. James Johnson's face instantly turned extremely unpleasant. "What did you say?" He grabbed my shoulder. The force so great it almost crushed my bones. I said, "Let's get divorced." I looked at him, repeating word by word. "This substitute game, I can't play anymore." "I disagree," he almost shouted. "On what grounds do you disagree?" I sneered. "We were originally in a contract marriage to part amicably, wasn't it? Without my permission. You're not going anywhere." He stared at me intently, his eyes filled with obsession and madness. I was frightened by his appearance. I had never seen James like this before. He had always been calm and composed, unflappable even in the face of disaster. But now, because I wanted a divorce, he had become so out of control. "You're hurting me," I said with a frown. He seemed to come to his senses and released my shoulder. "I'm sorry." He took a step back, his voice a bit hoarse. "Emily Williams, don't bring up divorce with me, okay?" He looked at me, his eyes actually carrying a hint of pleading. I was stunned. The lofty James was actually begging me. "Why?" I looked at him puzzled. "You clearly don't love me. Why won't you let me go?" "Who says I don't love you?" he said suddenly. I was completely bewildered. What did he say? He said he loves me. How is that possible? "You're lying to me," I retorted instinctively. "I'm not lying to you." He walked towards me step by step, his eyes burning and focused. "Emily, I admit At first I noticed you because you look like my first love. But later, I was attracted to you because you are Emily. The Emily who, betrayed at the wedding, could still bravely stand up and propose to me. The Emily who, when facing accusations from family and exes, could calmly counterattack without fear. The Emily who looks fragile but is stronger than anyone. He cupped my face, his thumb gently stroking my cheek. I love you, Emily. Not because you resemble anyone, just because you are you. His voice, like magic, made me drown in it. Unable to extricate myself, my heartbeat was so fast it felt like it would jump out of my chest. I looked at his handsome face close at hand, at the deep affection in his eyes. My mind blank. He said he loves me. Is this true? Am I not dreaming? Just as I was lost in thought, he lowered his head and kissed my lips. His kiss was no longer the tentative one from before, but filled with storm-like passion and possessiveness. He pried open my lips, invading like a conqueror, plundering all my breath. I was kissed until dizzy and weak all over. Only holding onto his shoulders could I barely stand steady. I don't know how long it took before he finally let go of me. Both of us were panting slightly. He pressed his forehead against mine, his voice hoarse. Now, do you believe me? I didn't know whether to believe it. James' confession was too sudden, too unreal. I was afraid this was another dream, or a lie he fabricated to keep me as a substitute. I don't know. I pushed him away and kept my distance. My reaction made the light in his eyes dim somewhat. It doesn't matter. James let out a bitter smile. I know it's hard for you to accept right away. I'll give you time. After saying that, he turned around and went upstairs, watching his desolate back. I suddenly felt a little uncomfortable. Maybe what I said just now hurt him, but I really have no other way. Successive betrayals have made me dare not easily trust anyone, especially when it comes to feelings. The next day, when I woke up, James had already gone to the company. On the dining table, there was the breakfast he had made and a note. Remember to eat. I'll come back early tonight. The handwriting was strong and powerful, just like him. Looking at the note, I felt a complex mix of emotions. After breakfast, I received an unexpected call. It was from Peter. Ms. Emily, were you not scared last night? His voice sounded very concerned. No, thank you. That's good. He paused for a moment and then said, Actually, I came to you yesterday because I wanted to tell you something. What is it? Something about James and his ex-girlfriend, Sophia. Hearing this name, my heart sank suddenly. What do you want to say? I may not know much, but I think you have the right to know the truth, he said. 3 years ago, Sophia's car accident was not an accident. My heart skipped a beat. Not an accident. Then what was it? It was man-made. Peter's voice was very low. Someone tampered with her car. I gasped. Murder. Who did it? I'm not sure about that. At that time, the Johnson family blocked all the news. I just happened to hear my dad mention it once. Peter said. My dad was one of the attending doctors at that time. The reason I'm telling you this is to remind you that James is much more complicated than you think. There are full of dangers around him. You should be more careful when you're with him. After hanging up the phone, I couldn't calm down for a long time. Sophia's death was not an accident. Did James know about this? Had he been investigating the truth of that year all these years? Did he marry me really because he loved me? Or was it because I looked like Sophia? So I could be the bait for him to draw out the mastermind behind the scenes. This thought sent a chill down my spine. The more I thought about it, the more scared I became. I felt like I had been involved in a huge conspiracy. In the evening, James came back early. He brought me the cake from my favorite shop. What's wrong? You look so pale. He noticed something was wrong with me. I looked at him, hesitated for a long time, and finally asked the question. Sophia's car accident was not an accident, right? His hand that was taking off his coat stopped. He looked back at me. and his eyes became extremely sharp. Who told you? Don't worry about who told me. Just answer me. Yes or no? He was silent for a moment and then nodded. Yes. Although I had already guessed it. Hearing him admit it with my own ears still set off a storm in my heart. So, I looked at him, my voice trembling slightly. You married me to draw out the murderer from that year. Right. You used me as bait. Right. Emily. He interrupted me. His voice tinged with a hint of anger. Is that what you think of me? Isn't it? I retorted. No. He walked up to me, holding my face in his hands and forcing me to look at him. I admit that I've been investigating Sophia's death. And I also admit that the murderer might target you because you look like Sophia. But I married you not to use you. It's because I can't just stand by and watch you in danger while I am helpless. I want to protect you, Emily, with everything I have. His eyes were sincere and determined, not looking like he was lying. My heart wavered a little. Have you found out who the murderer is? I asked. He shook his head. Not yet. The other party is very cunning and has erased all the clues. But I suspect this has something to do with the Davis family. The Davis family. I was stunned. You mean Peter's family? Yeah. James nodded. Peter's father, Thomas, was Sophia's attending doctor back then. Not long after Sophia passed away, he quit his job. And then the Davis family moved abroad. They just came back recently. It's all too much of a coincidence. I suddenly remembered that Peter called me today to tell me all this. Could it be? You mean Peter? His motives for approaching you are definitely not pure. James' eyes turned cold. Stay away from him from now on. I nodded. It seemed that Peter was not a good person either. Just then, my phone rang. It was a MMS from an unknown number. I clicked on it and saw a photo. In the photo, Lily was lying on the hospital bed, her face pale, and a large area of the sheet under her was stained with blood. Right after that, another text message came in. Emily, you made me miscarry. I won't let you go. I'll make you pay with your blood. Seeing the photo and the text message, I was completely stunned. Lily had a miscarriage. And she said I caused it. How was that possible? The last time I saw her was at the mall. And all I did was pour a glass of water on her. How could I have made her miscarry? What's wrong? James saw that my face looked bad and took my phone. When he saw the photo and the text message, his brows also furrowed tightly. Is this another one of their tricks? I don't know. I shook my head, my mind in a mess. But she really had a miscarriage. No matter how much I hated her, it was still a little life. Don't panic yet. James put his arm around me and said calmly, there must be something fishy about this. Let's go to the hospital and see the situation first. Okay. When we arrived at the hospital, David and his parents, as well as my parents, were all outside the ward. As soon as David's mom saw me, she rushed towards me like a madwoman. You murderer. Give me back my grandson. I'll fight you. James' bodyguards immediately stepped forward to stop her. Auntie, calm down. My dad also came up to hold her back. The matter isn't clear yet. Don't be impulsive. Clear about what? It's her. This poisonous woman. She was jealous of Lily. So she deliberately pushed Lily at the mall and made her miscarry. David's mom pointed at me and shouted hysterically. I was stunned. Pushed her. When did I push her? I didn't. I immediately retorted. I just poured a glass of water on her. I didn't even touch her. How dare you deny it? David Brown shouted at me, his eyes red. The mall surveillance caught it all. It was you who pushed her. Emily Williams. The first never imagined you could be so vicious. Not even sparing an unborn child. Surveillance. I clearly didn't push her. So how could the footage show me doing it? Unless they tampered with it. I want to see the surveillance. I said. What's there to see? The facts are right in front of us. David's mother insisted relentlessly. Murderer. You must give us an explanation. Explanation. What kind of explanation do you want? James Johnson spoke coldly. His voice instantly silenced the noisy hallway. When David's father saw him, his aggressive demeanor diminished by half. James. Mr. Johnson. About this matter. What do you think? Simple. James said. Since you claim Emily pushed her. Call the police. Let them investigate. And everything will become clear. At the word police, David and his parents' faces paled slightly. Calling the police isn't necessary, right? David's father forced a smile. We're all family, taking this to the station would look bad. Whose family with you? James retorted bluntly. My wife has no relation to you whatsoever. He paused, his gaze sharp as he looked at them. And if you're afraid to call the police, it means you're lying. We're not. David protested, his neck stiffening. Then why not call them? James pressed. Step by step. Or are you scared the police will find out this miscarriage was a show you orchestrated yourselves? David's face instantly turned ghostly pale. My heart sank. Orchestrated themselves. Could Lily have sacrificed her own child just to frame me? That was too cruel. Just then, the hospital room door opened. A doctor walked out. Who is the patient's family? We are. David's mother hurried forward. Doctor, how is my daughter-in-law? The doctor shook his head, sighing. The baby couldn't be saved. The patient is very emotionally unstable due to the miscarriage. Please be gentle when you go in. My poor grandchild. David's mother began wailing again. The doctor ignored her and looked toward us. When he saw me, he hesitated. Then he approached me, asking uncertainly, Excuse me, are you Emily Williams? I nodded. The patient wants to see you. Alone. The doctor said. I hesitated. I didn't know what tricks Lily might pull now. Don't go. James held me back. She's up to no good. It's fine. I shook my head at him. I'll go see what she really wants. Some things had to be said face to face. I followed the doctor into the room. Lily lay in bed, her face devoid of color, looking genuinely weak. Seeing me enter, she struggled to sit up. What are you doing here? To laugh at me. Her voice was hoarse and venomous. Lily, I didn't push you, I said calmly, looking at her. Ha, she sneered. Emily, stop pretending. I know it was you. You hate me for stealing David. So you wanted revenge. To make me lose my child. I didn't. I repeated firmly. If you don't believe me, we can call the police and have them investigate. The police. She laughed as if it were the biggest joke. Emily, do you think the police are all powerful? I'm telling you, it's useless. What do you mean? It means, she said, staring at me word by word. That child wasn't David's to begin with. I felt as if struck by lightning, frozen in place. The child isn't David Brown's. Then, whose is it? Are you surprised? Lily Taylor looked at my shocked expression, smiling triumphantly. That's right. The baby in my belly isn't David Brown's. So, even if you call the police, they won't find anything. Because I didn't miscarry from being pushed down. I took abortion pills myself. My mind went blank. She took abortion pills herself and then framed me. How utterly vile this woman is. Why would you do this? I could hardly believe it. Why? She laughed until tears streamed down her face. For you. Of course. My dear best friend. If I'm miserable, you won't be happy either. It'll make you bear the blame for killing my child. It'll make you despised by everyone. It'll make you live in guilt for the rest of your life. Her expression was twisted and frenzied, like a demon crawling out of hell. As I watched her, waves of chills ran through me. I'd known her for 10 years. Yet I never realized she was such a venom-asserted woman. You won't succeed, I said coldly, staring at her. Oh, she scoffed dismissively. Emily Williams. You're too naive. Everyone thinks you caused my miscarriage now. Do you really believe anyone will trust what you say? Even if they don't. What about James Johnson? Do you think hell marry a cruel woman who killed someone else's child? Hell get tired of you and abandon you eventually. What will you have left then? Her words stabbed into my heart like a knife. I had to admit she made a valid point. If this wasn't handled properly, it could seriously damage my relationship with James Johnson. I took a deep breath to calm myself. Lily, do you really think this can break me? I met her gaze firmly. You're wrong. The more you want me to suffer, the better I'll thrive. I'll make you watch as I crush you and that useless man of yours under my feet. With that, I ignored her and turned to leave the hospital room. When I stepped out, James was waiting by the door. He saw me and immediately approached. What did she say to you? I told him everything Lily had just said, word for word. After hearing it, his face darkened ominously. That woman is truly unrepentant. What do we do now? I asked worriedly. David and his group insist it was me who pushed her. And we have no proof. Who says we have no proof? James sneered. He pulled out his phone and dialed a number. Hey. Pull up all the surveillance footage from the entrance of that gown shop at the International Finance Center Mall and send it to me. Especially every angle of the 10 minutes before and after that woman fell. Don't miss a single corner. After hanging up, he said to me, don't worry. I'll handle this. With him by my side, I felt much more at ease. We returned to Cloud Top Villa. And before long, James received a video file in his email. It was the mall's surveillance footage. With multiple angles. We watched it from start to finish, carefully examining every detail from my argument with Lily, to me splashing water on her, to her fall. The whole sequence was crystal clear. The footage showed that after I splashed the water, I turned to go pay. There was at least 2 meters between us. I never touched her. She tripped over something while stepping back and then fell. See, I never touched her. I pointed at the screen, saying to James, James Johnson nodded, paused the video, and zoomed in. At the spot where Lily Taylor fell, on the floor, there was an inconspicuous puddle of water. This is it, he said. It's her own water. James rewound the video and pointed to a frame. Look, before you splashed her, she accidentally spilled a bit of her bubble tea on the floor herself. I looked closely and saw it clearly. Lily had been holding a cup of bubble tea during our argument. She got emotional, and some of the tea spilled out without her noticing. Later, when she stepped back, she happened to step on that puddle of tea, slipped, and fell. So, the whole thing was just a misunderstanding. She caused it herself. Great. I sighed in relief. Now we have evidence. Let's see how they try to argue their way out of this. Don't get ahead of yourself, James said. This evidence isn't enough yet. Not enough. I was puzzled. Can't this prove my innocence? It proves you didn't push her. But it doesn't prove she didn't slip because she was startled by you splashing water, James said. They could easily shift the blame onto you. Plus, even if we prove our innocence, Lily could claim she's innocent and didn't mean to frame you. That way, she goes from being a malicious perpetrator to a pitiable victim. And when that happens, public opinion will still side with her. I was shocked to hear this. I hadn't realized there were so many twists and turns involved. Then what should we do? To completely defeat her, we have to make her admit that she staged this whole thing herself, James said, a cold glint flashing in his eyes. Make her admit it. How is that possible? I have a way, he replied. The next day, a shocking scandal suddenly exploded online. Famous influencer Lily Taylor exposed for chaotic private life. Unborn child not her husband's biological offspring. This news hit like a bombshell, instantly igniting the entire internet. The source was an anonymous Weibo account, but the evidence it released was rock solid. There were intimate photos of Lily entering hotels with different men, plus a DNA test report. The report showed that the fetus Lily miscarried had no biological relation to David Brown's DNA. Instead, it matched another man's DNA with 99. 99 certainty. And that man was none other than Peter Davis. When I saw this revelation, I was completely stunned. The child in Lily's womb was Peter's. What on earth was going on? I immediately called James. Did you do this online expose? Yes, he admitted. That DNA report. It's real, he said. Yesterday, I sent someone to the hospital to get tissue samples from the fetus and Peter's hair for an expedited test. So, Lily's child really was Peter's. I still found it hard to believe. Exactly. What about them too? They've been having an affair for a long time. James said. The Davis family and the Brown family are old friends. Peter and David have known each other since childhood. Lily is just a pawn Peter planted by David's side. A pawn. I was getting more confused. The Davis family's ambition is to take over the Brown family. They had Lily get close to David with the goal of ruining the Brown group. So, Lily getting pregnant, having the miscarriage, and framing meal of it was part of their plan. You could say that. I took a sharp breath. I had always thought that Lily Taylor was just jealous of me and had been scheming to hurt me. I never expected that such a massive conspiracy lay behind it all. I felt like a fool. Manipulated and toyed with by them. The show has only just begun. James Johnson chuckled coldly on the other end of the phone. With this bombshell revelation, David Brown completely broke down. He couldn't fathom that the woman he loved wholeheartedly had cheated on him on such a massive scale and even made him unwittingly become a father. He stormed into the hospital and had a huge fight with Lily, reportedly smashing the entire ward to pieces. The Brown family also plunged into disgrace because of this scandal, becoming the laughingstock of the city. The stock price of Brown Group plummeted once again, teetering on the brink of bankruptcy. David's parents turned gray overnight. As for Lily, she became a pariah, despised by everyone. She had previously built up a fan base with her innocent persona, but now that image collapsed, with all her fans turning against her and tearing her apart viciously. She was utterly ruined and disgraced. Just when everyone thought this affair would end with the downfall of the Brown and Davis families, Peter Davis suddenly stepped forward. He held a press conference where he admitted to his relationship with Lily and that the child was his. However, he shifted the blame entirely onto James, claiming that James orchestrated everything out of revenge. Peter insisted that James had always been jealous of him because, back in the day, Sophia Miller loved Peter, not James. He even produced a love letter allegedly written by Sophia to him. This sent shockwaves through the media, with all cameras instantly turning toward me and James. Peter's press conference escalated the entire incident to new heights. No one had expected that James' ex-girlfriend Sophia would be dragged into this, or that it involved such a melodramatic love triangle. James' love turned to hate. Revenge against a love rival. Sophia's true love exposed. It's Peter Rich family secrets. A war started by a woman. Online sentiment flipped instantly. Netizens who had sympathized with James and condemned Peter and Lily now began to waver, with some even accusing James of being the most malicious one, willing to destroy a rival and a family over a woman who didn't love him. Reading those vile comments, I trembled with rage. How can they say such things? It's completely twisting the truth. Don't get angry. James pulled me into his arms and gently patted my back. The truth will come out. But, no buts, he interrupted. Trust me, I can handle this. I looked at him. He remained as calm and composed as ever, as if the storm outside didn't affect him. His serenity steadied me. I nodded. I trust you. The next day, Johnson Group also held a press conference. The key figure wasn't James, but someone no one expected. Peter's father, Thomas Wilson. Thomas, dressed in a hospital gown and pushed in a wheelchair, looked gaunt and frail, like he had just recovered from a serious illness. As soon as he stepped forward, he bowed deeply to all the cameras. Hello, everyone. I'm Thomas Wilson. Today, I'm here to apologize to everyone on behalf of my good-for-nothing son. I also want to repent to Mr. James and Miss Sophia, who died unjustly 3 years ago. His words stunned all the reporters present. 3 years ago. Miss Sophia's car accident was not an accident. Nor was it the revenge from Mr. James as my son claimed. Instead, it was a murder planned by my own hands. As soon as he said this, the whole place was in an uproar. Everyone was so shocked by this shocking inside story that they couldn't say a word. Thomas ignored everyone's reactions and continued. Back then, the Davis family's company had a broken capital chain and was on the verge of bankruptcy. I was at the end of my rope and asked the Johnson family for help. However, Mr. Johnson refused me. Out of hatred, I wanted to take revenge on them. By chance, I learned that my son, Peter, was pursuing James' girlfriend, Sophia. So, I came up with a vicious plan. I told Peter to pretend to pursue Sophia and deceive her feelings. Then, I planned to create an accident to kill her. I wanted James to taste the pain of losing his beloved one. I bribed the workers at the repair shop to tamper with Sophia's car. That day, on her way to meet James, the brakes failed, and she drove off a cliff. I thought I had covered my tracks perfectly. However, I didn't expect that James had been investigating this matter all along. Some time ago, he found me and showed me all the evidence. I knew I couldn't escape. I originally wanted to end my life. However, James gave me a chance to atone for my sins. He asked me to make all the truth public. I'm standing here today, not asking for everyone's forgiveness. I just hope that I, a dying man, can feel better in my heart. I'm sorry to the Johnson family and Miss Sophia. Most of all, I'm sorry to my son. It was me who turned him into a demon who would stop at nothing for profit and even use feelings. By the end, Thomas was in tears and sobbing uncontrollably. The whole press conference venue was dead silent. Everyone was extremely shocked by this cruel truth. It turned out that all of this was a complete conspiracy. It turned out that Sophia had loved James from beginning to end. She was deceived by Peter and was killed by him and his father together. All the words Peter had said at the press conference and the love letter he had presented were fakes. His purpose was to confuse the public and shift the blame onto James. The truth came out. Peter and Lily were completely disgraced and became pariahs. Thomas was prosecuted for planning the murder. As an accomplice, Peter couldn't escape legal sanctions either. The Davis family was completely finished. The Brown family, which had colluded with the Davis family, was also found to have many illegal tax evasion and tax dodging activities. The Brown group declared bankruptcy. David and his father were taken away for investigation because of economic crimes. All those who had hurt me got there just deserts. I watched their embarrassed looks on TV as EY were taken away by the police without a single ripple in my heart. My life had turned a new page, while they would be trapped in the past, in the hell they had created themselves. I turned off the TV and looked back to see James standing behind me, looking at me tenderly. It's all over, he said. Yes. I walked over and hugged him. Thank you. This time, he didn't say there's no need to say thank you between husband and wife. He just hugged me tightly back and whispered in my ear, Emily, I love you. I smiled, but tears welled up in my eyes involuntarily. I love you too. Our story started with a ridiculous wedding, a deal out of mutual needs. But now, I knew that all of this was the best arrangement of fate. He was not a substitute in my game. I was the one destined for him. He healed all my wounds and gave me a brand new world. And I also helped him emerge from the shadows of the past and embrace the sunlight again. I took out a document and handed it to him. What is this? He asked in confusion. Our prenuptial agreement. I said, I think we don't need it anymore now. He took the agreement, without even looking at it, tore it to shreds. The paper shreds fluttered in the air, like a romantic snowfall. He lowered his head and kissed me. Outside the window, the sunlight was just right. I knew that our happiness was just beginning.